My name is John Hersey and this is Taste and Drink. This is episode 2 under the new guise. In this episode we're going to just touch base on what I did before the French Wine Centre. So we kicked off French Wine Centre properly in 2018 after we took over from Ross Duke. But before then I worked for myself producing wine from 2014 to 2018 from our family vineyard in the Adelaide Hills. Mum and Dad bought a vineyard in Kuitpo. In 2012, the vineyard was abandoned. It was owned and planted by Ursula Bridham, who was the first qualified female winemaker in Australia. She abandoned the vineyard due to her age when she retired, and it took a little bit of work to get it back up and running. First vintage was in 2014, but we are tasting the 2018 today. The fruit, the Chardonnay, used to be bought by Penfolds and go into Yattarna, so it's got some pretty serious pedigree, some interesting history with Ursula Bridham, being behind the wheel before then. We do 6 picks at varying levels of acidity and Beaumet, starting at about 10.2, 10.5, and then finishing at about sort of 12.5. I think the latest we've ever picked is 12.9. But as an example, this is 12%, so it just sort of fits in the middle beautifully. But it just gives varying. The clone is I10V1, and a lot of people will say that gets sort of pineapple and tropical notes. I strongly, I agree, but you've just got to pick it very early, and if you pick it early, it's really quite tight. Compared to, say, the Bernard clones, which I find can be really quite sort of rich in the Adelaide Hills. And the other thing about Adelaide Hills is the lees, for some reason, look quite a bit like wheat bix. So sometimes if it's ripe I10V1 or Bernard clones, and then you've got the, the influence of the Adelaide Hills lees, it can just all look a little bit much. So I think that the secret, well, to our Chardonnay, and definitely our philosophy, was to produce a wine with high acid, before it started to get flamboyant or tropical, before it started to sort of show too much flavour. So we 6 picks in stainless steel overnight to large 400 litre barrels, 20% of which are new, all the brand Jassan, and we let it go through full malolactic fermentation. Now, you might say, well, if you're not chasing flavour, why are you doing full malo? And the reason is because it's so high in acidity that instead of bringing on sort of dairy notes, it's just translating the structure and the acidity into a sensation that feels like minerality. And now I say it like that because a lot of people will say, minerality is a subjective or a made up phrase. I don't believe so. I think that every soil imparts at least some form of minerality, and it's accentuated by malolactic fermentation. The 2018 took over the French Wine Centre in 2018. Alas, we're still sitting on 2018 stock. From 2019 onwards, we're in about a pallet or 2. But the good thing is, because it's such an acid bomb, it's fresh as a daisy. It's an Australian Chardonnay, there's no doubt about that, but it's undoubtedly influenced by my love from Chablis and White Burgundy. It's very reserved in the nose. Even after 6 years, it's in extremely good condition. On the palate, absolutely fresh as a daisy. There's a little bit of generosity coming along, but that's just from the sheer fact that it's 6 years old. This wine was borderline battery acid when we first bottled it, and it still has that beautiful line of acidity, but it's just developing a little bit of richness and flavour and character, which is what you would expect from a 6-year-old Chardonnay. But I would say it's easily got 3 to 6 years, before it starts to show true tertiary characters. And up until those 3 to 6 years, it'll be enjoyable as well. And it'll be enjoyable past that, but you probably would have to have a love for older Chardonnay. A little bit of a trick on that is, if you've ever got a bottle of Chardonnay that's past its best, it's a little bit big or rich, get a bit of cheese, it can be any food, and just whack salt on it. Salt will just tighten up any old Chardonnay. Been lots of old White Burgundy and old Margaret River Chardonnays and Adelaide Hills Chardonnays, which we've been isolated. That's all we've got. Out camping, or it's not bad enough to send back. And just a little bit of salt and a bit of cheese, and we'll save the day. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next episode. Cheers. Bye.